Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. My name is Christina. This is a reading for Aries, or if you're just feeling drawn to this reading for whatever reason, then it's for you. The focus of this reading today will be 3 questions. What is your current energy? What should you be focusing on? And where is an area of growth? So I've already pulled your cards, Aries. Let's get started. We're starting here with the bottom of the deck energy for the 3 decks that I'm using. So I'm going to start with this one. The transformation pressure, which is absolutely a really big theme in your reading today. I feel like Aries, you're sort of right in this middle section where you're passing through this, could be feeling a little bit turbulent in perhaps your surroundings, or even just internally, just feeling like a lot is happening, a lot of things are shifting or changing. And it's kind of like this period, this transition period, even though in the grand scheme of sort of this entire journey, it is quite a temporary or small aspect. However, it may feel like it's been going on for a while or that it's lasting a long time. But it's kind of like talking about that when you're sort of in this high pressure environment, those kind of moments can sort of stretch out or last longer. But it's like you are moving through it very quickly. And we have the Knight of Cups here, which I love so much. And then also the Gratitude card, which is so lovely. When I saw this card, I thought of the song Human by The Killers. I'll link it above so you can go look at that after. But there's a line that says, "Are we human or are we dancer?" And also there was another line as I was listening to the song that popped out at me, that said, "Sometimes I get nervous when I see an open door." So I feel like that's sort of what this is talking about. It's like there's a new opportunity or new path perhaps, or it's like you've received some sort of insight or moving towards something. I want to say this Knight of Cups, right? Something that absolutely pulls at your heartstrings. It's like it's beckoning you forward, or in moving towards this, it's pulling you through some sort of transformation, which feels a bit like a lot of pressure, or like perhaps there's like a time sensitivity, or it's like making you nervous in some way, especially with like the heartstrings, right? It could just be like feeling emotional, or just like there's perhaps nerves or anxiety in going towards this. But what's important for this gratitude card, which I love so much, is just to remember that all of this is sort of part of the experience of being human, and to try and enjoy everything that's happening, even if it feels a bit like there's just a lot of pressure, like you're not sure what to do, or that kind of thing. I will come back to this card because there's another card in your reading that sort of references this one. But anyway, so we'll get started. What's your current energy, Aries? I'm using this new deck that I got. It's called the Modern Nirvana Oracle, which I will list out the details in the description box, but I love it so much. The boat and the emotions, right? Like that's exactly what this sort of pressure transformation is talking about. It's like if there's sort of turbulence in your emotional state of like, I don't know, feeling nervous, whatever it is, you'll know if you're just feeling down or low. Perhaps you're sleeping a lot, that could, or like needing a lot of rest, or like needing a lot of calm, perhaps with this boat. It's like you have sort of all of these tools available to you to sort of maintain your peace and maintain your calm and your inner balance, despite sort of all of the turbulence that's going on, especially with this sort of like moon that's been blocked out. It's like perhaps the next step is not clear, or it's like you're unsure about what it is you're supposed to do or whatever it is, but it's kind of talking about to sort of just reassure you that this is sort of the landscape that you are moving through at the moment, but all of this is temporary. It will soon pass, absolutely, because what you have here with the cards, you have the Purity Ice card and then Cleansing Storms, which I'm not sure why this is called the Purity card. To me, it feels more like stagnation or uncertainty is kind of how I read this card, right? It's like you're not sure, and so it's kind of like you're under the ice, right? That kind of thing. But it's to reassure you that this period, if it feels like stagnation, or if it feels like you're having to take a lot of time to rest or to regroup or whatever it is, it's like trying to reassure you that absolutely this new change is arriving soon, imminently, it's on the horizon. And it's kind of like what's happening now is that you're going through a cleansing period where it's kind of just like, it's kind of like, you know, when you go swimming in like a public pool, you're encouraged to sort of rinse off before you actually go into the pool, because like you could have stuff on your skin or whatever that sort of can react badly, or you just don't want to put that into sort of the public space, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's like you're rinsing off anything that sort of will hinder your progress forward into whatever this new opportunity is. That's how I'm kind of seeing it. But soon after that, right? It's like right after that, you have two really quick movement cards. This, the movement speed and then the fire ignition, which is so incredible. Like starting with ice and then moving directly into fire. So, and there's all of that sort of in the cards as well. It's like you're at this really important transition where you're about to move from stagnation into fire or movement or fast action. And it kind of feels like, because there's so much going on, it's like it's all happening at the same time. And so you're kind of having to sort through what it is that you're leaving behind and what it is that you're moving into. How I sometimes see this card as well is kind of like if you imagine like a Venn diagram, right? There's two circles. One is your old environment, one is your new environment. And in order for you to move into the new environment, the new circle, new sphere, new pool, new whatever it is, you have to pass through that intersecting point of the Venn diagram where it's like both of those realities are existing at the same time. And so it can feel really turbulent, or a lot is happening. Everything sort of like happening in a single moment, and it's just like needing to calm down, take a breath, be in this energy of gratitude, and know that it will pass is kind of how that's coming through. What's incredible with these two, the tarot, is it's all just sort of reflecting that similar energy of like the Knight of Materials or Pentacles, which is talking about like the slowness of it, right? It's like you're wanting to get somewhere, and it's almost like your vehicle is not moving because this is just made of plants, right? It's like it's flimsy, or it's not, there's not enough structure or something like that, right? It's just very slow moving. This Strength card is so interesting because this lion always looks like comically almost like upset. Like how I was seeing this card is kind of like if you're like on a road trip with kids and the kids are just continually asking like, are we there yet? Like that's basically how I'm reading these two cards. It's like impatience to sort of get to the destination, but it's like you're having to use a lot of your strength to be like, to calm yourself, or like to calm the others that are with you perhaps, or just to calm your emotional states, to say that yes, we are almost there. It's like you're at the you're in, it's the next card at the Knight of Wands, right? You're right in the middle of this transition point. So it's talking about like moving through sort of this obstacle can feel very fiery, but it's like you absolutely are moving through it. The Knight of Wands is the fastest moving knight in the deck, so it's like moving from the slowest to the fastest sort of vehicle of transportation or transition or whatever it is that you want to talk about. And then here you have the Nine of Pentacles, which I love so much because it's just kind of like this could be your goal, right? Like just like having perhaps independence or stability within yourself. This always just looks to me as like a painting or like a summer day. Like it's very warm. It's like you have no worries. You have everything that you need, kind of thing. With the yellow shirt, it could just be like happiness, something to do with like solar plexus, like willpower, strength, all of that. But it's like you moving from strength, because these are both yellow, right? They're both like solar plexus energy. It's like right now you're kind of in this place where you're almost like constantly having to like reassure yourself kind of thing. Like you're always having to be like, or like use like all of the resource that you have just to sort of say it's going to be okay, everything's going to be fine, we're almost there. And then here it's kind of like you don't have to worry about that. It's much more sort of relaxed. It's like you're at the destination. This is the vacation that you've wanted or whatever it is. Okay, so that's your current energy. We're going to move on to what it is that you can focus on. So this is so interesting because you have the prism, right? So you can see how this relates to the gratitude card with all of this sort of like rainbow light. I'm going to come back to this because there's so much here. And then you have abundance and rebirth, which I love so much. So I'm going to start with the prism card. I feel like I could do an entire reading on just like these three cards today. Okay, so I'm going to start with the prism card because I feel like what this is talking about is like if you get like a download from source that's like pure white light, right? It's like the purest form of thought or whatever it is. Like you got an idea, you had a dream, you had this sort of sudden understanding that came from source, if you want to call it that. And then in trying to bring it into the physical reality, that's sort of where it gets, there's a filter that's placed on it. If you think about the prism, where it's like, as the light comes into this 3D reality, it gets separated out, right? It's like what you've received is now split into almost like different things or experiences. And it's kind of like what you're looking for, what you're wanting is this like pure white light, but you can't see it because it's sort of been split or separated due to the nature of this 3D reality that we're living in, if that makes sense. And so it's kind of like, perhaps you're feeling a bit like, where's this thing that source gave or like told me to look for? That's what this rebirth card is talking about, because if you notice on the hand, there's a blue circle, right? So that's sort of like the pure thought form that source gave you. It's like source told you to go look for a blue circle, for instance. And then in your physical environments, like you found something that resembles the purest form that source could sort of give you, but obviously they're not the same thing, right? It's like they're similar. They're both blue circles. But because of the nature of this physical reality, this is the closest thing that you can get to that pure source light, if that makes sense. It's like, this is what, if you're expecting sort of like the exact image or whatever it is that you were given or you saw in like a vision or whatever in meditation, however it is that you receive your messages or guidance, it's like you kind of have to take all of the things that are presented to you in the physical world and almost like put them back together in order to realize that what it is source is showing you is exactly what's in your environment. It's just been separated out into the more physical aspects. I'm not explaining this very well, but I feel like that's sort of going to be a message that comes through over time. This is just sort of the beginning stages of it. And with this gratitude card, it's almost like you are the prism, right? It's like you're getting all this information from source, and then all the sort of work you do or the way that you move in your physical environment as being like a dancer. So it could be related to joy. It could be related to this Knight of Cups, which is sort of just like an expression of your heart song, that kind of thing. That's sort of what creates the rainbow light, if that makes sense. Like it's like you receive the pure white light from source, and then from that, you being the prism, you being the physical 3D structure, can radiate that light out into many different forms, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's what this abundance card is talking about. There's a lot here of like many different forms of abundance. It's not just going to be like money or resources. It's like everything that you're sort of gifted at or able to put out into the world, I want to say. There's so much here. I'm spending so much time on this section, so I'm just going to move on from that. The cards that we have here from the elemental, again, this question is what is it that you're focusing on, or what should you focus on? We have the water, creation, and then the soul, passion. So it's absolutely all of this that I was just talking about. It's like perhaps receiving some sort of download. I see this card as being like, once all the water drains, right? If you're in sort of like an emotional, turbulent state right now, it's like once all of this emotional, watery, storm cleansing energy is past, there's going to emerge some sort of like structure or realization, or perhaps like a physical thing that's going to be made clear to you, I want to say. And I feel like it's going to absolutely open your eyes to something. There's with this soul passion card, it's so funny. I always thought, like, when I see this card, I always think about like the eyelashes. And today I pressed my eye against something and my mascara got irritated. And so I feel like it's something like that, like trying to remember what it is that you are passionate about, what your soul sort of desires. And that's because perhaps you've lost some of that focus here. Also with the prism, like it's like she has like a tear. So it's kind of like, it feels kind of like you're like longing for like almost like the pure representation of what it is that you've imagined or whatever. And like everything in your environment is not an exact match to that, because it's impossible to sort of get that in the physical reality, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like you have to put all of this light or look at all of the full spectrum of light that you can see around you, and through this sort of filter of like your soul. I have no idea what that means. I'm just gonna move on. Okay, so we have next here to make equal, the equator, and then comfort, home. So this is what I'm talking about. It's like the to make equal. It's almost like what. It's so hard to explain this. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like I know exactly what it is that I'm feeling. It's like the pure aspect of it, the very basic, pure, truest version of what it is that you want or who it is that you are, that kind of thing, is perhaps getting lost in translation because of the physical reality of this world. And so it's like kind of like you're having to bring those two aspects together, if that makes sense. You have to like almost like do a reverse prism on what's surrounding you in order to realize that what it is that you have right now is what you were searching for, right? It's this rebirth. Instead of a rebirth, it's more of like a refiltering, right? It's like Source told you to look for a blue circle, and what you have in front of you is a blue circle, but there's physicality on it, the prism of physicality. And so it's not necessarily a direct match based on what it is that you see, but energetically it absolutely is what this is saying. Okay, and then comfort, hearth, which is, I'm just like, it's the energetics, right? It's like if you have, this is how the light is translated through the physical sort of realm, is basically what this is talking about. There's so much here. I need to move on though. Okay, so that was what it is you can focus on. It's basically trying to see your physical reality, or what it is that you're currently in, the manifestation that you're currently in, with this lens of you have everything that you are searching for already. It's already in your environment. You just sort of have to put all of the pieces back together, is basically what that's talking about. Okay, moving on. How is it that you can grow in this situation, Aries? And you have the kindness card, which for me is just talking about being kind to yourself. Absolutely. This card is also talking to me about, like, with this rose here, I have this shirt with a sloth on it, and he's holding a rose, and the message for that from that t-shirt is live slow. So absolutely take it slow. I feel like you're in this really important transformational stage right now where it's like you're moving towards something, or because it's not even like you're moving towards something. The whole message or the whole point is that you are in it, right? It's like all of the things that you want are in your environment. They're just sort of like spread out or like opened up into a bigger spectrum is kind of how that was talking about. Anyways, so this card is just talking about sort of like being present, living slow, which just means appreciating sort of everything that is happening right now. It's like perhaps part of this journey is to just sort of move how it is that you are feeling. If you're needing to take rest, then take rest. Like, just be kind to yourself, basically. Because you have here the 3 cards. Oh, I forgot this Queen of Wands card. So this is from the previous question of, like, what should you be focusing on is this, because this Queen of Wands I see is like a beacon, right? With all of these sort of like insects here in the eyelashes, it's like you are moving towards this sort of, well, I feel like it's like you are the beacon, right? It's like you are calling to you everything that you're wanting to manifest. It's like some things move fast, some things move slow, but it's all sort of happening in this moment, basically. Okay, sorry. Back to this question of where can you grow? You have here this combination of cards, the groundedness, Adam's building, and the time discipline. And what's important about these 3 cards is that it's 39, 40, 41. So you're absolutely progressing. There is a natural progression to the momentum of this situation, of where it is you're going, etc. With these 2 cards here, is just reminding you of the fact that there is sort of like physical, perhaps limitations that, or like rules or boundaries or something like that you can't, like, because if we're just talking about source or just like other dimensions, like even if you go 4th, 5th dimensions, there's less restrictions, right? There's more ability to move or less constraints. But if we're just talking about Earth, the Earth plane, the 3rd dimension, there's more, there are more rules or structures that sort of need to go through, and that could feel a bit like it's not moving, right? It's like, especially if you're like used to, or if you remember, or if you can astral travel, like that kind of thing, where it's like a lot less restrictions, things move much faster, and then having to sort of come back down into your Earth body, it's kind of just like frustration. But what this is talking about is that you absolutely are moving forward. I feel like there's just sort of this thing about time, that things just sort of take time, but it's not something that you are in control of, right? It's not something that you can do more of. It's not something that you can push forward kind of thing. It's kind of just like, let the energy move. You are sort of moving forward already. The momentum is carrying you. The only blockage, I'm going to put in quotation marks, is time, right? Is being able to stay the course, even if it's sort of difficult and you may want to like make a change or make a move. It's kind of just saying like, be patient. You are moving towards your goal. It's coming together. Things just take time in this stage, basically. And then finally you have here Sun, the light card, which I love so much because this card came out in a reading a couple months ago about the firefall, which was talking about like the perfect set of conditions to experience some sort of like miraculous event. And it's like, that's what you're working towards with this building Adams card. It's like you're moving towards this experience, whatever that is. It could be with another, just because there's 2 here. And it's kind of like you are in the process of going there. You're not gonna miss it. It's almost like you're early. It kind of feels like you're early because perhaps you received a vision or whatever it is. It's like you're anticipating this event, and it's like it has to come together in like the perfect environment or conditions or whatever it is, and it's almost like that's making you anxious because you're worried that it's not going to or you're going to be late. But it's what's coming here in through here with the Judgment card. It's almost like you're early. You already know, or you're at this place or whatever, and it's like, because this Judgment card to me is looking like she's preparing to blow this trumpet, right? It's like she's waiting. She's almost in like this like dormant stage, right? It's like the volcano is dormant. It's not yet time, right? It's not yet time, but you will absolutely know when it is time because this trumpet will sound. It's kind of how this is coming through. And so it's like, don't be anxious about missing the timing of it. It's gonna absolutely, you're already sitting at this, I want to say it's like you're moving towards in the right timing, whatever this experience or event is that you're wanting to move towards. With the Ace of Swords here, what is this one talking about? Well, to me, it's like a lock, right? It's like, it's almost like you can't know this, something about this situation until it's time, right? Because the key is there. You hold the key, but it's like you can't pass through this. You can't pass through whatever this like sort of nebulous thing is until the right time, until the trumpet goes, if that makes sense. Okay, and then here you have the Two of Cups and the Seven of Wands. And so what this is talking about with the Two of Cups, there could be like somebody that you are trying to meet up with, or it's like at this event, experience, whatever it is, it's like you're expecting to meet up with somebody or something like that. It doesn't have to be, but it could be. It's like they're also sort of moving towards, it's like you're going to meet at this point, right? This sunlight point. It's like your paths are absolutely connected and intertwined. Nothing is sort of going to separate that or jeopardize that or put this at risk. Like this is absolutely safe and secure. It's like this one is also moving towards you. It's almost like you are here like waiting on the other side as this one sort of moves through perhaps some sort of struggle or challenge or just resistance is kind of how the bars are coming through. Perhaps they're just in a tricky situation. But it's like you're absolutely coming together is kind of how this ending part is coming through. And so just to focus on kindness for yourself and for others, but also, because I always ask like what, or not always, I just started this, but how is it that you can grow in this situation? I feel like for you, Aries, it's just to like take some time to be kind to yourself. It's not always, the focus shouldn't always be on growth or like change or how to make yourself better or any of that. It's kind of like you're already doing that. You're already doing that. Just keep going, basically. So Aries, this message was a lot. So I'm going to do an extended. I'm going to ask what's ahead and what's unknown for you, Aries, in this situation. If you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I do have other videos if you're interested in watching those. Thanks so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.